That's right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. What a crazy show today, right? We have a lot of memes. We have Joe Biden. We have a couple life hacks. Also, the markets are tanking. Bitcoin under 28K. Ethereum, 1,700. There are a couple cryptos that are holding steady. So we decided to bring in the big guns to take a look at charts. Forrest will be joining us today. Take a look at what are some good entry and exit points as we see, and will the cryptos continue to slide. Also, we're talking about the SEC versus Ripple, an update on that. The judge has approved the motion to file the appeal on behalf of the SEC. And Grayscale, they're hiring an ETF, someone to work their ETFs. Does this mean that they know the ruling is going in their favor? And what is that going to mean for Bitcoin? But first, here is your other co-host, and it's Rob.
It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where, unlike the false advertising that these other channels say when they give you entertainment, we actually deliver. Where we take old, boring, stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy Vegas kind of way. Can I get a Viva Las Vegas sound there? See. And we got amazing sound effects.
And we have an amazing...
Is Bitcoin over 30,000 yet? No.
You literally say that every show. It's not over 30. It's not even over 28,000.
Damn it.
As I mentioned before, guys...
Stupid. I hate Bitcoin.
As I mentioned before, I did reach out to Forrest again last minute. Said, hey, brother, markets are tanking. Please join us. Let's talk about the chart. So Forrest, like he always does, is joining us. Forrest, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Could be better, man. Could be better, but could be worse. Look over, my portfolio is down 3K. Not a very good feeling. Now, you know, if you watch our channel, and, you know, this is why you join right off the bat. You don't miss the beginning 5-10 minutes because you're going to get your funnies, okay? We do have new footage from President Joseph Robinette Biden.
I feel like,
well, what did he talk?
Have you ever went a week without Biden video?
No. It was, you know, like Trump also gave a lot of good content, funny content,
Yeah.
you know, and Biden equally, but in
so
different ways.
When we get a new sitting president, are we going to be doing this still? Are we going to continue
Well,
on?
if they do what Joe Biden or Donald Trump do, then yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
All right,
enough.
so here is Biden. This video needs no introduction. Rocco? Yeah.
I want to say one thing to your children. I know some really great ice cream places around here. And Daddy owes you. Okay? So talk to me afterwards. I want to say one.
That's kind of creepy, man.
Yeah.
So cringe, so creepy. And I love ice cream myself, but
Rocco,
Yeah.
would it have been okay? Would it have been less creepy if he would have said gelato?
Yes.
Okay. Just check.
who have sorbetti? Guys, before I get too far ahead of myself, I do want to give a shout out to channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. Today's show and every show this week is brought to you by them. If you're looking to maximize your IT, networking, and your cybersecurity, there is no better company to call to help you guide through all the issues you may have, all the issues you could potentially have. Literally pick up the phone and whatever that needs to be done, they will help you get it done. Visit BlueWireTech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Gentlemen, do you have any commentary on President Biden? You think it's going to get better or worse?
The creepy vibes?
You think anyone's telling him like, hey, President Biden, maybe stop sniffing people, stop, you know, doing weird things and saying weird things? Or you think at this point
he's gone, man. It's like trying to, you know, you ever have, you know, that like granddad or that old man that just always has like oatmeal in his like shirt. Like,
oatmeal in his shirt.
You can't like retrain him. You know what I mean? Like he's just gone, man.
Okay. It's a dog.
He gone, man. He gone.
He gone, bro.
Okay. All right, guys. So Rob, you, me, and Rocco, we have experience in the service industry. And well, as waiters, there's a lot of job duties you have, you know, going over the menu with people and answering questions and being pleasant and essentially making sure that your guests have whatever they need. And there's a new restaurant that is taking being a waiter to a whole new level. Rocco? Would you work there for $10,000 a month? And so this is the waiters at this restaurant. They are, yeah. You know what? You know what I've come to realize, guys,
I
is
mean, is dude getting some action? Like,
yeah. I mean,
Are they
that's his action.
is it going through the tuna sashimi and getting some tongue action over there or what?
You know, I'm always like, you know, all the weird stuff you hear, it's always from people that have money. And so I'm starting to realize once you get to a certain status level and a certain level of income, you kind of run out of things to spend money on. So you start doing weird stuff. Like,
Listen, that's not even a bottle of champagne. That's a Heineken on the table.
it's a bottle of Wycliffe that give away
It's
for
not even
free.
a bottle of wine. So what is that?
Forrest, is this summer you would ever eat or consider working? If it
No, I mean, look, this is an unpopular opinion, and I'm not one for bullying, but there's a certain amount of bullying where I just feel like this kind of behavior needs to be bullied back out of the norm. This is just weird. This is just strange.
So
Extremely weird.
Here in Vegas, we have a dining in the dark restaurant too.
That
right?
is the dumbest thing. Like,
And so
what kind of
all the
stupid
waiters
idea?
wear like night vision goggles, and they like put your hand on the fork and knife. And the thing that
That
gets
is
me
so
though,
dumb.
the thing that gets me about that is that there's no restaurant I've ever worked at that is 100% free of bugs. Right? You could be as clean and persistent of a restaurant ever, and then the warehouse just brings in
That is
a
true,
box
guys.
of
That is
lettuce,
true.
and in comes one cockroach.
Hey,
And
listen.
you could be the cleanest restaurant ever. And so I'm just sitting there, and not to mention this dining, this dark restaurant also happens to be in an area of the neighborhood that's
Not very good.
yeah.
Let's just say you want to keep the lights on in this neighborhood.
I mean, I would be so terrified to eat.
That is a bad location for. Anyways, it's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
But guys, let's move on. And I'm gonna start this video.
hold on a second, man. We got 30 likes.
What?
Hit the like button.
Please do it for Forrest if you don't do it for us. Be respectful to your guests. Now, guys, I want to show this video, but I want you to pay attention to the sound, and I'm gonna follow up with a question. So, Rocco. Okay, so what do you expect to come out of this garage? A Vespa.
A Vespa,
okay?
yeah.
I mean,
Drone.
obviously you're hyping this up, so it's not a Lambo. That's what it
Okay.
sounds like.
Sounds like a Lambo, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's continue. You're hired, trombone guy. And then, guys, speaking of stupidity, there's a life hack of how to make sure your air quality is safe in your car. Just put mess over the air vent, or you can simply click the redo button in the car. Oh, guys. Okay, I'm not going to show that. That's okay. I was iffy about this one. It was kind of messed up, but I'm not going to show it. But I will show this one. So here is a prime example of how Bitcoin reacts and then how the rest of the crypto markets react to how Bitcoin reacts. So here we have a Bitcoin as an electrician fixing an outlet, and here's the altcoin market, and Bitcoin down 5%. Okay, what
Well, first of all, why is dude eating a banana while like
He can't
at
eat a
what
banana while
point
holding a
at what point does
flashlight?
electrician? At what point does electrician, instead of pulling out like a voltage meter, pulls out a banana?
And then speaking of buying Bitcoin, here's a picture of me buying the Bitcoin dip just one more time.
He's got a flat pancake butt too.
Selling the shirt off his back and the pants off his legs. Guys, let me ask you a question. Is this dip big enough for you to accumulate more Bitcoin or even altcoins? Just generally speaking, Robin?
I think it's a great time to buy. The value proposition, the value of Bitcoin and even pretty much all altcoins. I don't think you can argue with that. Obviously, you would have to have a long-term time horizon. Right now we're at 27,000, maybe right at 28. Anyways, we could spill down to, back down to 20,000. I don't think so. I know we've talked about it before. I think 25,000. Myself personally, not the big chart guy, but I think 25,000 somewhere we could go revisit. Maybe it goes lower. And so long-term time horizon, but we know where the price of Bitcoin's going. At some point, it will be over $1 million, and I do think that's T-minus, I'd say 6 years.
At $1 million, 6 years?
Yeah, 2 halvings.
Forrest, what do you think about that? 6 years, $1 million per
so
Bitcoin?
if you were to give past this to the next halving, the
2028
Eight.
halving. What are your thoughts on that, Forrest? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I disagree, but I don't think it's like that crazy. I think there's a potential path. I mean, that's like the nation state like thesis. I think a couple $100,000. I think like 200K. Bitcoin ETF comes in, that's going to pump it up quite a lot. And yeah, we could see it get pretty out of hand pretty quick. But I don't know if I'm in the $1 million camp. I'm probably like a couple $100,000.
Do you think it ever gets to $1 million?
Well, I'm thinking here's the reason. It's not so much that the value of Bitcoin the adoption of Bitcoin is going to be so heavy. I think it gets to $1 million because of the currency, because it's priced in dollars. And I think the S&P 500 will be hitting new all-time highs, and so that'll be I don't know how much it'll run in the next 6 years, but I do think that commodities in general, particularly higher risk commodities, everything's going to grow, in my opinion.
I think kind of to Robin's point, what I've been paying attention to on the macro side is U.S. treasuries that are held on countries' balance sheets. So China, they're at the lowest level they've been at in 20 years. Japan has slowed down their buying of U.S. debt as they are buying their own debt. You have the Netherlands and Germany officially entering recession. And you have this whole BRICS narrative continuing to grow. The U.S. issued a statement telling Saudi Arabia you should still take the U.S. dollar. That the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar should continue to be the standard. But it doesn't seem like these guys care. And so I think as that narrative continues and as people see holding U.S. debt as more risky than before, and all that money starts flowing back into the U.S., I mean, the only way we're going to get out of it, and Rob talked about it, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, is by printing money. And if we're printing money, the reason we've been able to go scot-free and not see hyperinflation is because we can print money and countries will buy it. But if countries are not buying it, someone's got to buy it, right? And who's that someone going to be? It's going to be the federal government or the Federal Reserve. And so we're going to get into the cycle of hyperinflation if this trend continues, the trend of de-dollarization. And that's what I'm worried about. And I think that could catapult a hard money asset like Bitcoin into the $1 million range. I could see a scenario where we start to get 15, 20, 25% inflation month over month, year over year. And people are just like, if I can't store my wealth, I'm not storing my wealth in the Chinese yuan. I'm not storing it in the Japanese yen, the euro, the dollar. What am I storing it in? I can go gold, but it's not practical. What if I want to move? It's not divisible. What's the next best option? And that is Bitcoin. That is why people are so bullish, including
the next best option as well.
What's the best option?
Is a shout out to the chat.
Okay.
And if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We do have Crypto Zero, Donato C, Teller, Teresa W, Brandon Raul, Robert O'Connor, James Cameron, Alexandre Miranda, and Salami Amor is back again for day 2.
Salami Amor.
And so to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. We are at 60 likes, 65 likes. We are just shy of 50%.
You know, Robin?
So let's smash that like button.
Robin, you don't look too amped up today. I feel like you had a bad workout yesterday.
Oh, do you want me to tell you that story?
Is there a reason why you
all right,
potentially could have had a bad
story time? We haven't done a story time in a while. This one was pretty fun. Yeah, so normally I rush out of here, try to get into the gym, and I have my normal gym routine. And it used to be I would take a pre-workout and then get a little jittery, so I would just take a Celsius, and so not quite too harsh on the nerves, and so smash one of those before I go to the gym. I went in there yesterday though, man, and I was still dragging ass, man. I was at the gym. I was just not feeling it, man. I was just under the weather, and I just couldn't get through. So anyways, I get home, man. I realized that I didn't drink no damn Celsius. I drank a Truly, bro. I saw the empty can on the counter, and I'm like, God damn it. Rocco, throw me a Truly can, bro. You throw me a Truly can there, Rocco. You gotta see. Like I'm telling you, this thing is you don't call me stupid because they literally look the same. And
I mean, the wording is a little different, you know.
No, I mean, honestly, it's like the same. Like they're both in my fridge on the same shelf, and so yeah, for me, I don't know. It just
I can accept that. I can accept that, but just out of curiosity, never happened to me before because, you know,
I still got through the whole workout though. So
you did, proud of you, man. Good job. Guys, let's shift this topic of conversation. Before we get into the charts, let's talk about what's happening with Ripple and the SEC. So this is a tweet from Eleanor Tourette. This was tweeted yesterday, and then we have an update today as well. So so the SEC had filed an interlocutory appeal, right? So this is an appeal prior to something going to trial, and it's essentially an appeal. Where people were wondering, well, what's Ripple going to do? Are they going to be okay with the appeal? Are they going to say, yeah, it's fine? Are they going to say no? Well, here's their response. The company, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, opposed the appeal on the following grounds. Number one, the court's order does not involve a controlling question of law. Number two, the SEC cannot show a substantial ground for difference of opinion. And number three, an immediate appeal will not advance the termination of this litigation. So Ripple said, you shouldn't do an appeal. Well, we do have an update from Judge Torres today as she has granted the SEC's request for an appeal. So Eleanor tweeted this. It said Torres has granted it. That was about an hour ago. And then she retweeted that just to clarify that reminder. She only granted the request to file. Now the SEC will have to come up with a compelling case to bring to the second court. Ripple will also have the opportunity to file its opposition to the appeal, which the second court will take into consideration. Forrest, I'll start with you first. Does this worry you does this signify or signal that Judge Torres is maybe doing an about face? Is she getting pressure from higher up? What are your thoughts on this happening? And is there a real chance that this thing can get reversed or go against Ripple's favor?
To be 100% honest, this is like way so far out of my depth that I can't even begin. Like the law stuff here, just like right over my head. I have no clue what a Second Circuit is. I have no idea what a opposition to an appeal really means and what it. Yeah. So I know like my answer is like, I don't know. I don't know. I'd take maybe somebody who's like an expert on this topic, but yeah, I'm out of my depth here in a big way.
And I love that you say that, and you know, because a lot of people would try to BS their way into a talking point. Let me ask you this though, Forrest: if it does go against Ripple, do you think the price of XRP completely plummets? Thinking of a psychology of traders and what happened when Ripple got the appeal in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. If we had some sort of ruling in favor of the SEC and, you know, against the Ripple, I think you just see the exact opposite. I think you'd see a mega dump and then you'd see that slow grind back up where people like, you know, started climbing back in. But yeah, I think you just take the opposite of what happened with the most recent decision that we had. And then it would just, you know, be the opposite direction.
Rob, what are your thoughts on this whole scenario? And I'll kind of leave it general on. None of us are law experts here, but you have any thoughts on Judge Torres granting the request to file? Is it a surprise?
I don't think. As Forrest mentioned, I don't know too much about law here, at least in this situation. But I'll just say that it's no surprise that you would see the SEC going through the appeals process, making ground in that process. I mean, you know, they have basically an unlimited budget to go through court with their lawyer team. Not to mention, I mean, they generate a ton of money by suing people, and so of course they're going to use the law to the full extent and every single little avenue they can to achieve their narrative. And no surprise to me that you have the SEC making ground on an appeals process. And I still think, remember, at the end of the day, remember, an appeal is exactly that. This is not, I'm sure it's not that much different, but an appeal at its core level is, hey, was there a fault with the original court case? Is there something wrong with the original court case that we had?
Did they miss any evidence?
Yeah, was there something that was unfair or unjust in the original court case? It's not a second opinion on the verdict. The verdict is, or this one wasn't a verdict, but it was a judgment, a summary judgment. But was there something, was there a flawed part of the process? And I don't know. I think that court case seemed to have been pretty buttoned up. I didn't see anything that stood out in my opinion from all the evidence that said, hey, the SEC got over on this one, or Ripple.
Yeah.
So I find it, from my personal opinion, outside of law, probably a hard battle to win on an appeal. I'm not surprised that they're going through the whole process.
And like we said, this thing was far from over, even when the summary appeal judgment came through. And just to kind of put it in perspective, guys, the top two, Bitcoin and ETH, are down over 4%. And XRP, off of this news of an appeal being granted, is only down 3.69%. So doesn't look like people are freaking out or overreacting, so that's something to keep in mind. I do want to share one piece of news. If you had any money, hopefully you didn't, but if you had any money locked up on BlockFi, they are opening crypto withdrawals for eligible U.S. users following the court order. Many customers have reported being able to withdraw funds for the first time in months. The lending firm said the withdrawals do not extend to many wallets controlled by international users, but that legal proceedings were ongoing. So if you do have the app still, or you have money on BlockFi, go in there, see if you can pull some of the money out. Remember, of course, you're not going to get 100% of it back, but something is better than nothing, and at least you're getting it back towards the bottom of a bear market, and you can build that thing back up. So some positive news for everyone. I do want to shift over to our market segment, but first, today's market segment is brought to you by channel sponsor, I Trust Capital. If you would like to enjoy your crypto gains tax-free, you want to set up an I Trust Capital account, a Roth IRA account. What I would recommend, not only can you fund it with your money throughout the year, but if you have a 401k or a traditional IRA, you can roll that money over as well and convert it into cryptocurrency. Also, iTrust did share some exciting news yesterday, as there are 5 new assets that they have added to your HODL bag: Hedera, Quant, Gala, Chiliz, and Flow. We know they added XRP after a summary judgment. And so if you don't have an account, guys, you want to prepare for retirement. It's something you've been looking at to your portfolio. iTrust is a great company. They do their due diligence. We're actually working on bringing the CEO to answer some questions on the show. So if you want to do that, use the link in our description, and you'll receive a free $100 once you fund your account. With that being said, Robin, what are the markets looking like?
All right, we do got Bitcoin coming in at, is it $27,934. So you can see here, why it always scrolls down over there.
Yeah.
So you can see the spill off that we had this morning. Right around midnight, it started to spill off. We lost to 29,000 at 5 a.m. And, well, here we are. We did wick all the way down to, was it 27.5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty big spill off. I did have a chart though on Bitcoin I wanted to pull up.
You got a Bitcoin chart?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a man of many charts. So
are you going to bless us with
taking a look at the 1 day chart here? You can see I got this nice little trend line. So it's bouncing off of support perfectly.
Okay.
On the way up, as you can even see here. So
that's I think isn't that the spoon pattern, the spoon line?
It's a trend line, and the trend is your friend.
Perfectly
Till the end. There you
perfectly
go.
tapping.
So
Forrest, what are your thoughts on this chart? Is this a new trend line that you're looking to implement into your charting?
No, that's stretching it a little bit. That's we gotta keep those trend lines straight.
There you go.
Guys, of course, Robin is trolling, obviously. But let's go to the real chartist here. Forrest, BTC 27.7. That line up until the little hump we had there was a genuine support line, and it looks like we crossed below it. Are we seeing volume coming in? And I do want to know, we've had We've had over $111 million in long liquidations over the last 4 hours for BTC. And so, yeah, Forrest, take it away.
Yeah. So looking at the Bitcoin chart here. So here was the trade setup. And this is a trade that I took that I got stopped out of for a small loss. And I'm totally fine with that. There's no way to have a 100% win rate. The idea was very simply to bid this support. Why? Because we had our 21-week simple moving average. We had our trend line. And we had an ascending. We have both an ascending wedge, but we also had an ascending triangle, which is a bullish pattern. Right. So we got really, really good risk reward to take this trade. And then once it stops us out, it runs our stop, boom, we're out. And we save all of this drawdown, by being stopped out. Right. So now it's broken. It's violated this trend line and it's broken and it's spilling off and it just moved. Where did it move to? It moved right to our next range level, our next cluster of support levels. These are risk reward levels and margin pressure levels, which I can explain in a little bit. But for all practical purposes, they're just support and resistance clusters, right? So now this is our range. You can see I've kind of denoted it with an arrow here, right? And this is the next range below that, right? So if we're range trading here, we just want to be looking for a bounce back up to around 28.9. Now, there's no guarantee that we'll have that because this is a pretty nasty spill off and we have violated some pretty serious support levels here. What I will say is that, historically buying these support levels, right? Buying the 21-week simple moving average in line with your trend line. Again, buying the 21-week simple moving average in line with your trend line, very profitable. Now, the last time we did this though, if you look at our 21-week simple moving average, which is kind of just crawling through here, I'll zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better.
Yeah.
We did violate it. We broke it, right? We violated it and then we reclaimed it. And that's what we want to be paying attention for to get back into the market and to get back into longs if this happens. So we could get something similar where we drop below and then we revalidate. As far as fundamental news that could lead to that, tomorrow, I want to actually read this because it's from somebody else that posted it. Waiting for Grayscale case to pop up. It's been 160 days and 94% of cases are resolved by that time. The next batch of cases are Friday, 11 a.m. So tomorrow at 11 a.m., if you are this is not financial advice, but if you are an active manager of your portfolio, meaning you're not just like an accumulate, buy, and hodl kind of guy or girl, be at your computer and able to trade at 11 a.m. or around 11 a.m. tomorrow. Just because it's one of those few times where you don't really know, we don't know what news we're going to get if we're going to even get the news. But if we get a major victory for Grayscale tomorrow, that's a situation where Bitcoin could jam right back up onto this trend line and we're back on track and we're back bullish. And this was, we get a big move like this, right? So just pay attention. If no news comes tomorrow, we could just, we could see some speculation. Maybe we range here. Maybe we break down to our next range down, but being much more conservative here. So, pretty straightforward for Bitcoin. It's broken the trend, bearish until proven otherwise. And the guys, you got to be able to, if you're an active manager of your portfolio or an active trader, and people that don't really understand trading or investing will clown you for this. But you've got to be willing to flip flop. You've got to be willing to go from maximum bearish because SVB is collapsing to Bitcoin's the solution for that, and be able to get right back up on trend. Right when you revalidate that 21-week simple moving average. So right now, bearish, right? I do think that we could bounce and consolidate right here in the shorter term, but now we're starting to see the trend starting to break, into a downtrend. Technically, we still do have a higher, we haven't made a lower low, right? We still have a higher low if we were to bounce here. So technically, in the sense of the general trend is still an uptrend. It is still technically intact because we did have a higher high and we have yet to make a lower low. And that would take all the way down to, below 24/7 to actually put one in. I don't really want to wait until 24/7 to say, hey, maybe we should be careful here because we do have quite a bit of support there, right? So right now I'm moderately bearish until proven otherwise. Not really looking to bid or accumulate at these levels. I'd be much more attracted to some long-term bids down in this region, in this cluster, around 23 to 25K, which is kind of in line with right above our right below our previous range high. So just being very cautious here, but I am very willing to flip back long into the market, right? Yesterday and the day before, really the last week, I've been taking all my NFTs out of the market, right? All my NFT exposure. I don't want super, super high risk exposure right now. But if this flips back to the upside, we get a good outcome to the Grayscale case tomorrow, you're going to see me get as long as anybody. I'll be very, very bullish if this happens. Until proven otherwise, though, I'm just being very cautious here with long-term exposure, and then very simply trading level to level, right? Buy here, sell resistance, buy support, sell resistance. I personally like, especially in the last couple of days and weeks, have been having a lot of success, personally with just scalping these levels, right? So this is not a trade that I took, but you can see I've been more so trading similar, setups on the Solana chart, which maybe we can go to after this if anyone's interested. But just longing these ranges and making sure that I've got my stop loss set. Obviously, we target the high, but the stop loss moves up, right, and into profit. And you can oftentimes get some really nice little high leverage scalps off of just very strong bounces off of these key levels.
Hey, Forrest, real quick, I know I feel like we haven't looked at it in a while, and I saw some charts on it this morning, but the NASDAQ. So I saw this on Scott Melker's Twitter feed today, and so this was a chart that he had. And so he had said here, if you look at the context, he said that was the top. And so I think he's referencing this more current move to the downside here. And, there is a pretty strong correlation historically with the NASDAQ and Bitcoin, at least in the last 6 years or so. And what do you think's going on with the overall traditional markets, particularly maybe the NASDAQ? Do you think that Scott Melker has a good point here, and that this might have been a large area of resistance, a larger pullback? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm always very careful. So I don't have the NASDAQ chart, but I have the S&P 500, basically the same thing. They trade very, very in line. Just, index for the legacy markets. I'm very, very cautious about, trying to pick an exact top or an exact bottom. But yeah, this has been my macro base case from going all the way back to September, October, November. You guys remember how much I preached on the midterm election cycle, and that, historically, I don't know how many times I said it over the last year, but historically after the midterm election, which occurred right in here, we get a 15% move. Historically in the 6 to 9 months following a midterm election. We've gotten the 20% move, right? And we're currently right now, we're sitting at about we're just about a 16% move above where we had that midterm election. We are very much in line with historical averages. And when you start talking about historical averages for the S&P 500's performance over time, September is by far the worst month for the S&P 500, and we're 2 weeks away. So we've been on a tear. We've been due for a correction. I would expect, and this is something I've been saying, I want to be a lot more defensively positioned moving into September. Now, if we get a Grayscale case or a Bitcoin ETF surprise approval for whatever reason, yeah, I'll flip back bullish. I'll get right back in. But I'm personally positioned more in stable coins. I'm out of a lot of NFTs. I have one major NFT left, and that's it. Took a ton of risk off in the last 2 weeks because of this. Then if we go to RSI as well on the 4 hour, and we'll also see it on the daily, if we were to put on the daily, you had your bearish divergence here on the RSI, right? Which is, a signal of trend exhaustion. And you also had your kind of bearish ascending wedge that we've broken down out of. Now, what I will say is you very likely, in my opinion, get a bounce here. You get a bounce somewhere in this region, right? I'm not in the camp that this is just going to plummet like a rock. And, we do have a nice trend line here to, kind of act as support. And we also have quite a bit of volume here at around, 4,000 to 4,100 SPX, maybe even up to 4,200. So we do have, some precedent for a correction here. But in the shorter term, if we actually look at RSI, the S&P 500 is very oversold right now on the 4-hour. It's very oversold, and you have a high likelihood that if we catch some support in the next day or two, and we just don't collapse going into the weekend, and we have a decent, Monday, we very likely put in some sort of bullish divergence here. Right, we get a bounce, right, and there's potentially your head and shoulders. There's your top formation pushing us back down into this 4,200 region. 4,200 kind of into this trend line. So I do think we're getting a distribution pattern. I do think the top is in or that the top is very, very likely in. You might get a strong bullish divergence, and you might just get one more kind of scam top out of this. Sometimes that'll happen, right? You have, a lot of liquidity up here. And sometimes the market just wants to go up and grab that liquidity and then nuke from there. And you put in kind of one more set of bearish divergence. So the RSI would look something like that. And we could get one last. I wouldn't bank on it, but just do know if this starts ripping up again, pay attention to RSI on the 4-hour. Look for that bearish divergence, and that's where you want to sell. You want to be like, if this thing starts ripping and making a new high, that whatever new high we make off of this, sell. Not financial advice, but yeah, I would agree. We're probably very, very, very close to a top. If not, we have maybe one more little. Expanding volatility pattern here before, coming back down.
I mean, like, given current conditions and the inflation, the stock market continue to rally. I mean, we've been at over 5% for a solid 3-4 months now when it comes to the effective federal funds rate. Typically, that's supposed to take liquidity away from the markets, but it hasn't. But we are getting news that, speaking on macro, that as early as a couple of weeks, all the discretionary income people built up during the pandemic is going to be gone. We know that student loan payments are coming back in October. Everything's getting expensive. Inflation ticked back up again. What is that going to look like? Who knows? I do want to just round this off real quick by just showing the crypto bubbles, what the rest of the markets are doing. SHIB down 11.9%, the biggest loser of the day. And there is reason for that, we believe. We're going to discuss that here in a second. Caspa also down. But couple in the green, we have Hex and Thorchain. Thorchain has been absolutely ripping up 55% over the last week. Take a look at the hour. We were all green. It looks like things are turning red again. But Thorchain, again, has just been absolutely pumping up over 4% in just 1 hour. It's a pretty massive move. Now, I did mention SHIB. And well, let's talk about it. So we when we brought you on last Friday, you discussed Shibarium and how you entered into a SHIB trade, which I know you made some money on because you did sell in time. Well, SHIB was continuing to pump until this happened. So the article from CoinDesk states SHIB plunges 9% on apparent Shibarium bridge issues. SHIB token slumped some 9% in the last 24 hours as users widely reported bridging issues after the much-hyped Shibarium network went live on Wednesday. Blockchain data shows transactions on the network were stalled for at least 5 hours as of time of writing. One of the Shibarium developers responded to the reports of an outage in a blog post stating that, quote, there is no bridge issue and that the problem occurred following a mass influx of transactions, but users were blocked from sending messages on a community forum on Discord shortly after the initial reports began. And also, I believe in here, I don't think I have it highlighted, but someone from CoinDesk tried to bridge over some assets and they weren't able to, right here. CoinDesk tried to verify the issue and was unable to bridge tokens to Shibarium. Then we have this. Shaitoshi Kusama, this is the lead dev and founder of SHIB, said, we effed up hard. We can't recover the ETH bridge. This was in a developer or company or group Telegram chat. So I've seen some narrative as, hey, this is why meme tokens should stay in their lane. I mean, I'll kind of leave this extremely general. Robin, what are your thoughts on this whole scenario unfolding?
You would assume that something being an ERC20 token or something being in the Ethereum network, it would not have as much mess ups, but it just goes to show you that layer twos, anything is privy to a mess up, right? And I think that's essentially what we have here.
Do you agree with that statement, though? It's like, just stay in your lane. You know, you're a meme token, and now you're trying to do this and that, or does that have nothing to do with it?
But here, my personal opinion, yeah, you're a meme token. Stay in your lane. Now, but there are community members that are passionate. They want to do more with the token, and you're trying to incentivize new users to come in, and you're trying to make it more than it is. My personal opinion, hey, you made your wealth off of being a meme token. It's kind of like you ever watch Jackass, the TV show or movies back in the day?
Mm.
It's like, could you imagine you made your fame by just, destroying your balls or running around doing dumb crap all day, and then all of a sudden you want to transition to a serious role in a movie? Like, you can't. like you're not. No, like, I get it. You've been on camera, but stay in your lane. Like, do dumb stuff. That's how you got your notoriety. That's how you came to fame. And there are always examples. There are always outliers, but realistically, 99% of the time, if someone rises to the top of their field or area, or in a certain category, and they catapult themselves there, tremendous, in a fast way, that's usually their claim to fame, right? And it's hard to transition into something different and be taken seriously. And so, for my opinion, I think that it would be extremely difficult for SHIB, which is a dog token, to be taken seriously in the world of finance, and when you got to where you're at because it was a joke or a meme, right? Hard to get rid of that perception. I do want to give a little shout out to the chat, though, real quick, a little intermission. If you're new here, say hello, so that way we can drop an hola back at you. We have Glenn, Complete Con Artist, David, Motts, Rudy Lane, Damac, Stan, Live TV, and Crypto Logic. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, let's hit the like button. We got a little over 100 likes and 193 viewers, so let's get over 200 viewers. Maybe we got at 100 and... What's our club limit, 175?
175.
175. So we get to 175 likes. It's kind of far away. Not likely, but who knows?
Don't count out the community. Forrest, what are your thoughts on this? Do you share the same sentiment Robin does? I see a lot of people saying the Shitoshi was photoshopped. I didn't see anything on there. It could potentially be, but I do know people were having issues bridging tokens, so I know that in fact does exist. Whether they messed up or not, or whether he said that or not, I think.
And also Zach ZBT XBT, he said that the blockchain explorer for that is absolute trash, and that nothing is working. And so even trying to follow the breadcrumbs to find out what's happening is damn near impossible. So the ecosystem top down, just a little side note there.
Yeah. Forrest, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's trying to build something, this space is tough. But from like an investment trading perspective, like I would never hold Shiba Inu long term. If you look at the chart, every time it pumps, it fully retraces. That's why we talked about it as a trade. I got in, sold the pump, and got in for another scalp or two. But otherwise, just when that thing pumps, and when Dogecoin pumps, when Pepe pumps, they always round trip, more so than most altcoins, right? Even, a lot of altcoins in general will do that, where they'll pump and they'll fully retrace, but especially meme coins that are volatile. So got in for like a 28% pump, sell, right? Just take profits off the table. If you're trading something like Shiba Inu, which I don't believe has super strong fundamentals. There's no reason. I can never justify holding something like that in the long term. There's only a few tokens that fall into that category for me, and Shiba Inu and some of these other meme coins are not one of them. Even if they are building a layer 2, right? There's not a layer 2. There's not Arbitrum or Optimism that I would hold long term. Even Matic, Matic is fine for me long term. I do like them, but I think Shiba Inu falls way below all of those other ones.
Do you think they can save face here, guys? You think they can save face, or you think it's just completely?
I think all that extra ecosystem crap is.
Do you think they're gonna ditch it?
I don't think they'll ditch it. I think it'll be there, and I think maybe it'll have. I think I'll have new people pouring into it in the next bull market, but definitely I don't see any movement or traction in the short term.
For me, my take is I don't think we should look down on projects that start off as a joke and then try to bring some value to the space. Obviously SHIB was started off as a joke, just like Doge was, and we're over here talking about Doge potentially being a form of payment on the largest social media platform in the world, and that's X/Twitter. And so I don't think we should look down or shit on projects that are taking the route SHIB is doing. Does them being a meme token have anything to do with the developers that were building on the project? No, I don't think so. I mean, you want developers, you can go find them, you hire them, you bring them on.
But you saw what Doge did. Doge didn't do anything. They launched as a meme token, and that's what they stayed. Right? We don't have Dogebarium or freaking Doge Swap and Dogebone. Like they ain't got none of that crap, and they kind of kept to what it is, and they've lasted as long as they have. And I mean, we're seeing that greed and just simply trying to expand for the simple fact that you can. Look no further than Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like, why don't we launch another 7 different NFT projects too? Hey, we're gonna give you some new Bored Ape shoes and Bored Ape mutant
I'd buy
hair.
Bored Ape shoes for sure.
The NFT version?
No, the actual. There was a shoe called Bathing Apes. This was popular back in the early 2000s.
It's still around.
It is still around. Maybe not as popular, but it's still around. Forrest, you did mention Grayscale tomorrow. We do have some update on Grayscale and also from Grayscale. So let's start here with AP Abacus. So this is an account I've come to really, really enjoy following. Puts out good information. Rarely ever, or me personally, I've never seen any false info on here or some BS. So, update and an expectation that an appellate court ruling on the Grayscale SEC will come tomorrow. Forrest kind of went over that as he was going through the Bitcoin chart. Majority of legal experts expect the decision to favor Grayscale. An appellate win does not mean a spot ETF has been approved. That's one thing important to remember, guys, okay? Grayscale's application is still in. It's just because Grayscale wins doesn't mean automatically the SEC has to approve it. But let's just put it to you this way. When the time comes, they can continue to delay. But at the end, when the final expiration date is here and Grayscale has won the lawsuit, they have no leg to stand on to deny a spot ETF. I'll leave it at that. It does mean that a potential speedy run on spot ETFs are much more likely. And then we have this. Grayscale's ETF team is hiring. So this was posted yesterday. Senior associate for ETFs. So this is a position summary. Grayscale is seeking a highly capable, analytical, and proactive senior associate ETFs to support the development of Grayscale's ETF business. Is this a coincidence? Is this Grayscale throwing some shade at the SEC? Let's speculate here a little bit, guys. Robin, what are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. I literally don't know. I think.
You think this is a troll, or you think actually they know something, or their lawyers are telling them, hey, you're going to win. Let's start, like the calm before the storm, right? You see, before the tsunami comes, you see the waves start going, the water start going back, right? And so you're like, okay, something's coming. Well, you see these guys start hiring ETF people.
Yeah, but I mean, they can do whatever they want. It's not like they have inside information. It's not like they're talking. Not like they're having coffee with the judge. And the judge is like, "Yeah, you got this, bro. Like, go ahead, sell all your like." No, like,
how do you know that?
They don't. Like, at the end of the day, let's be realistic. So whatever they're doing behind the scenes, it's. I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude. I think. It is what it is. I don't know what the hell they're doing, honestly.
Forrest, you want to add any comment to this?
I will just say, I mean, the risk reward for speculating on this particular event tomorrow just got a lot better because Bitcoin price has come down quite a bit, right? So you have a lot of people that, all of a sudden Bitcoin's $1,000 cheaper than it was the other day. And you're getting, more units of reward for, less units of risk because we've come down a bit. So this is going to be an attractive event to speculate on, and I think, and should we get a decision that favors Grayscale tomorrow, like so long as the S&P 500 is not just nuking, I would expect Bitcoin to run it back up to some degree, right? I mean, it's just hard to imagine that we get a positive outcome for Grayscale and then Bitcoin goes downwards. I mean, I guess it could potentially happen, but it just, yeah, I mean, good to see that other people think that it's that a win is likely, though. Yeah, like we said earlier, it's been going on for 160 days, and 94% of cases are decided in that time, and the next batch comes out tomorrow at 11 a.m. So if not this week, then probably next week.
Okay. Now, Forrest, I know when we were looking at the charts, you mentioned Solana, and I kind of wanted to make sure we covered at least two of the biggest topics. Do you want to show a Solana chart? I know you were pretty, well, I don't want to say excited, but it was a chart that kind of stood out to you, and maybe talk us through what you're looking to do with Solana moving forward, or what the chart and the structure of the price action is telling you.
Yeah, so the main thing with Solana, and I'll share my screen here, is something really interesting and weird is going on. And it almost makes me wonder, like, does somebody have an inside scoop on this Grayscale ruling tomorrow and they're just selling off a bunch of Bitcoin? And that's the counterpoint, is like, do insiders know that, Grayscale is not going to win this? And because of that, they're just dumping a bunch of Bitcoin. Because ultimately, if we look at Bitcoin dominance here on the 4 hour, while Bitcoin's been in the market has been tanking, we actually see Bitcoin dominance is down 1%, right? So normally when Bitcoin tanks, Bitcoin dominance goes up because everyone wants to get out of altcoins, which makes a lot of sense. But then you look at, like, on the daily, we've got Bitcoin at -3%, and we've got Solana at almost +2%. Right. So if we actually go to the Sol Bitcoin chart, the Solana, price in Bitcoin chart, and you see I've got an alarm set here, and then we zoom out a little bit and we throw on this 21-week simple moving average. You can see that, like, Solana denominated in Bitcoin, and I'll zoom out even further to the daily, and we'll see that Solana's been underperforming Bitcoin for a very long period of time here, and it's failed repeatedly to break through this 21-week simple moving average. And then recently we jammed through it, and now we're holding up above it, but we're just pinched between this 21-week simple moving average and this downtrend line. But more interestingly, it developing in the last 24 hours or so, the last 6 or 7 4-hour candles, you actually have Solana, and some other altcoins too. It's not just Solana. There's some other altcoins. Solana is the one that I pay attention to the most, and it's had one of the stronger reactions against Bitcoin. It's actually moving. Solana denominated in Bitcoin moving up. And if we actually go to the Solana chart, what you'll note is, while Bitcoin has been essentially just tanking, and yes, Solana took a nasty hit from $25 all the way down to 22. It was a 11-12% correction, larger correction, from top to the local low here than Bitcoin saw. But if you kind of isolate for just the last 24 hours, this section of price action, Solana's been just refusing to give up this level. It's been refusing to give up 2250. Right. And I've personally been trading this level and scalping it a little bit. When you look at Bitcoin over the last 24 hours, it's a very different story. The last 24 hours for Bitcoin has been, minus 5%. But for Solana, it's actually just been holding steady, maybe up a couple percent, which is something to note. Right. And I always liked when the market's tanking, or the market's really, really flying, always try to keep track of what's underperforming and what's overperforming. So, if Solana's overperforming here, even though it has sat in a correction here, but it's just refusing to break this support level, that means that there's actually traders and investors coming in and with some sort of an appetite to buy Solana at around 2250. We've seen that in the past. We've seen this be a level that's been defended to some degree. means there's actually an appetite for Solana at 2250, and that's not to say that it can't break down. If Bitcoin just continues to break, brute force break down, then yeah, Solana will probably lose this trend line, and we'll look to the 21-week simple moving average and maybe $20, and that's a really attractive place for me to buy between $19 and $20. But right now, it's just I like to see what's keeping relative strength, and if Bitcoin runs it back hard, I'd be hard pressed to not see Solana run, and continue to outperform. But we'll see. Regardless, right now we're just playing these ranges. These are our clusters here. Our clusters here are just simply, range low down at $19 to $20. Our midpoint here is around $22.50, and then the top of our range is around $25.60, with kind of another kind of quarter point here at around $24 or so that we deviated above. Now we've dropped below, looking to return back up to $24. Bitcoin keeps crashing, then we look for 20. But looking at this, looking at all this support, I wouldn't be surprised to see Solana take a little trip up to $24 and try to get back up above this level. So that's the way I'm personally trading Solana right now. Just being careful, tight stops on everything. If it crashes, you don't take too big of a loss. Just get in, get out, close the trade, take profits, and move on to the next one.
And then real quick, just a brief shout out. We got Red Elephant, SB, Torcash, B Wood, Chad, Stanford, Lifer, Adam, and Rain here. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Speaking of Rain here, shout out said, this is my favorite show during the weekdays, boys. A great pro level show. Better than the competition and more fun. Viva Las Vegas. We appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. But that's our goal, is to make this the show that you don't want to miss. You get all your crypto info, the best guests in the industry, and you have a good time. Because we have a good time, we want you to have a good time. Now, speaking of having a good time, I do want to have a good time by giving one last channel sponsor shout out to Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, guys, if you're not following Forrest on on X, can you ever go just start referring to it as X? What are your thoughts?
I think eventually I'll come around to it.
I don't know, man. I just can't. So this is Forrest's profile at 00 Forrest with 2 R's. Also, if you do want some of his in-depth research and his indicators that he uses, and you want to support our channel as well, there is an affiliate link in the description of this video, along with plenty of other ways to help support this channel. Forrest, before I sign us out of here, first and foremost, again, thank you so much for joining us. You have become a person we can count on whenever we need you, whenever we want you. We love you, my friend. Thank you so much. Anything you want to say before we all sign off together?
Guys, don't be afraid to flip flop. We're in an uncertain time. The trend line's broken. The 21-week simple moving average is broken. That would suggest that we are moving downwards. We do have a major potential catalyst tomorrow to pay attention to. If that catalyst is positive and bullish and Grayscale wins, then be willing to flip back bullish. If they don't, or the news doesn't come, then be willing to be bearish in a kind of a shorter term and accept the fact that, hey, the trend, the uptrend has technically broken. So pay attention to what price does, align yourself with it. Don't be afraid of flip-flopping. You don't have to be bullish 365 days a year. You don't have to be bearish 365 days a year. You can change your mind. In fact, a lot of good traders and investors are constantly taking into account everything, all of the objective knowledge and objective information, and they're constantly changing their perspective. So don't be afraid to flip-flop.
Yeah, and especially if you are looking to scalp or swing trade or day trade, it's so important to take your emotions out of it. People get upset when Forrest or Garrett Soloway or Tom Crown or whoever it is, they're like, yeah, I'm kind of bearish right now. And they're like, oh my God. Like, it's just, these guys are traders. Like, you got to take emotion out of it and follow the charts, follow the money, be agnostic to feelings. And so, Forrest, again, thank you so much. Robin, anything you want to add? You're over there laughing. What you laughing at?
Inappropriate Twitter comments.
Okay. Guys, as Forrest mentioned, we might have some massive news dropping tomorrow. We will be live, same place, same time. Who knows? We might see a massive, massive piece of news break regarding Grayscale. We might see massive pumps in the crypto market. You don't want to miss the show. Also, go check out our merch store at 89crypto.com. Rocco. Thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in. Big thank you again to Forrest. We hope you enjoyed the show. Come back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On behalf of all of us here, we love you guys. Until tomorrow. Peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I?